My wife arrived home at the stroke of midnight, declaring, "I received the attention I sought." I responded, "Your bags are packed and waiting." The suitcases awaited by the door, meticulously packed, mirroring the careful attention I had given to every detail in our 15 years together. The grandfather clock in the hallway, a wedding gift from my parents, struck midnight just as the front door creaked open at last. Sarah glided into the room, her coat elegantly slung over one arm, the subtle aroma of wine and high-end perfume revealing her nocturnal escapades. She declared with a smile that failed to touch her eyes, capturing the attention I sought, as she let her keys fall onto the entryway table, all without sparing me a glance. "Your bags are ready," I said, my voice unwavering, a testament to the countless months of preparation leading up to this very moment. The silence that ensued lingered between us, reminiscent of the years filled with unspoken disdain. Years I could not recover, yet would not choose to prolong. Have you ever arrived at that moment when dignity eclipses obligation? This is the tale that unfolds. As I concluded the presentation, the conference room resonated with applause. Our team had just rescued a project that, a mere 12 hours prior, appeared to be on the brink of disastrous collapse. A database integration issue loomed large, threatening to disrupt the Henderson account, one of our most significant clients. However, I swiftly assembled an overnight response team, pinpointed the root cause, and executed a solution. "John saves the day again," remarked Samuel, our department head, as he clapped me on the shoulder. "I've yet to encounter someone who navigates a crisis with such remarkable poise." I smiled, acknowledging the compliment with a subtle nod. Merely fulfilling my duties. In moments of need, unity prevailed among all. Once the room emptied, I glanced at my watch, a quirk that Sarah had taken to teasing me about lately. "Are you still donning that piece?" Watches have seemingly fallen out of favor, with few individuals under the age of 50 opting to wear them these days. The echo of her words pierced deeper than I was willing to acknowledge. The timepiece was a cherished gift from my father, bestowed upon me when I secured my inaugural management role. The soft vibration of my phone signaled a calendar reminder, marking the milestone of our 15th anniversary. I had secured a table at Bellini's, the very place where our journey began on that unforgettable first date. Sarah had called off our last 3 dinner plans due to work emergencies. Yet surely this time, on our anniversary night, things would unfold differently. A reservation for 2 at 7 o'clock has been confirmed with the restaurant. Would it be possible to have a bottle of the 2018 Barolo ready for me upon arrival? Today marks the celebration of our 15th anniversary. The hostess's heartfelt congratulations brought a smile to my face. 15 years have passed. In the face of recent tensions, that milestone held significant meaning. Returning to my desk, I lifted the delicate velvet box that held the diamond earrings I had chosen weeks prior. Timeless and refined, much like Sarah was when our paths first crossed, prior to the marketing director's ascension to the role of executive vice president. Before success took on a new meaning for each of us. "Exciting evening ahead, perhaps?" inquired Natalie from accounting, her gaze drawn to the gift box. "It was an anniversary," I replied. "15 years have passed." "What an incredible achievement. Congratulations. That is truly remarkable in today's world." I nodded. Yet a voice within me murmured, "Is it truly admirable to endure when the essence has faded?" I cast the thought aside. This evening promised to unfold in an entirely new way. I would ensure that every detail was flawless in the comfort of my home. I took a shower and slipped into the charcoal suit that Sarah had once remarked accentuated the color of my eyes. I reached Bellini's a full 20 minutes ahead of schedule, eager to confirm that all was in order. The table nestled in the corner, offering a breathtaking view of the city, the wine unfurling its essence. A delicate cluster of calla lilies, her cherished choice. At 7:15, I sent a message. "The table is ready whenever you arrived at IS. Everything all right at 7:30? At 7:45, the long-awaited ring of my phone pierced the silence. "I'm so sorry," Sarah said, though her tone betrayed any semblance of true remorse. The Westridge presentation extended beyond its allotted time, and subsequently, Victor expressed a desire to delve into discussions regarding alterations in strategy I am setting out now. I choked down my disappointment. Absolutely fine. Your reservation is confirmed and secure. Upon her arrival at 8:20, she remained engrossed in her phone. I'll email you the revisions tonight, she said to whoever was on the other end, her gaze avoiding mine as she settled into her seat. Apologies escaped her lips as she finally ended the call. Utter turmoil reigned today. Happy anniversary, I declared, gently pushing the small box across the table. For a fleeting moment, she displayed a delicate embarrassment that spoke volumes. Amidst the whirlwind of events at work, it completely escaped my thoughts. I kept my smile intact. Everything is all right. Unveil it. Her response to the earrings appeared authentic. A brief glimpse of the woman I had wed. John, they are truly exquisite. I envisioned them complementing that black dress you donned at the Richards party beautifully. Indeed, they certainly will. She leaned in to plant a kiss on my cheek, only to swiftly glance at her vibrating phone. Apologies, but I must confirm whether this is Victor. I savored a leisurely sip of wine, observing as her focus faded into the glow of the screen that it was not Victor. The shopping app notification caught my eye from my seat. How was your day? She inquired, finally placing the phone aside. Indeed, quite fascinating. A crisis unfolded with the Henderson account. The sound of her phone pierced the silence. Her eyes flickered to it before meeting mine. This is something I ought to take. Alicia here, representing the marketing team. Naturally, I replied, as the remainder of my tale dissipated into thin air. She rose to her feet, making her way toward the restaurant entrance in search of improved reception. I found myself seated in solitude, observing the waiter's empathetic gaze as he replenished my water glass as the dessert made its entrance. A tiramisu meant for sharing, reminiscent of our first date. Sarah remained conspicuously absent. When she finally made her way back, the dessert had languished in silence for a full 15 minutes. Apologies for that, she remarked, easing herself back into her seat. Pray tell, what were your thoughts on Henderson? I began anew, detailing the database crisis, yet her gaze fell to her phone on 2 occasions throughout my concise account. That's great, she said when I finished, though her reply lingered in the air for a moment longer than expected. You have consistently excelled at extinguishing flames of chaos. The praise rang empty, as if she were characterizing a dependable machine rather than a partner. Later that night, Sarah returned home and immediately sat down at her laptop, asserting the urgency of a deadline for the morning's presentation. I lingered in the threshold of our bedroom, observing her as she typed with fervor, utterly engrossed in her task that I announced that I was heading to bed. She replied with a nonchalant her gaze fixed elsewhere. I will be here for a bit longer that I end the stillness of my bed. I gazed at the ceiling, reflecting on the events of the evening. There was a time when Sarah would have rejoiced at my project's save, inquired with curiosity, and shown a sincere interest. In the past, our anniversary was a date etched in stone, reserved weeks ahead, an unyielding commitment. I extended my hand toward the nightstand drawer, retrieving a small leather journal that had been purchased weeks prior, yet remained untouched. On the initial page, I inscribed the date alongside a straightforward entry. Anniversary dinner, arrived 45 minutes late, made 3 calls, completely forgot the occasion. At what point did I transform into a burden within my own marriage? The experience was undeniably intense, witnessing the words take form on the page, yet it carried an air of inevitability, akin to chronicling a recurring theme I had been reluctant to acknowledge. As that you, John? Is it Daniel Brooks? A glance revealed a face that stirred a sense of familiarity amidst the crowd at the industry mixer. After a brief pause, I identified him as William Tan, the husband of Olivia, Sarah's colleague. Ah, Robert, what a pleasure it is to see you. How is Olivia faring? Flourishing as ever. She and Sarah have been putting in long hours on the Westridge campaign. He dropped his voice to a whisper, as if sharing a secret. It seems that the two of you had a rather heated discussion regarding the bedroom renovation, as Olivia mentioned that the entire office is buzzing about it. My smile became a statue, unmoving and unyielding. In the hushed confines of our home, the conversation about the bedroom renovation unfolded, shielded from the outside world. A quiet discord lingered, rooted in differing priorities. I proposed that we address the roof repairs prior to refreshing the decor, which is still in good condition. I apologized. I succeeded. Robert's demeanor shifted, revealing a sudden unease. I was under the impression that Sarah brought it up during their planning lunch. There's something to be said about what was it that Olivia referred to, your delightful yet somewhat antiquated perspective on home improvement priorities. The revelation struck with the chilling force of ice water. Our clandestine disputes served as the office's amusement. At IT seems I ought to refine my instincts for interior design. I remarked with a hint of levity, even as my stomach twisted into a tight knot. Greetings, my friend. I stand beside you. Olivia is eager to transform our kitchen for the third time in 7 years. These women married to executives, aren't they? He took a moment to pause. Or an executive and his wife, as is the case with Sarah. I took my leave soon after, marking yet another entry in my mental archive of troubling trends. 2 weeks later, I found myself standing next to Sarah at her company's quarterly celebration. The gathering took place at a luxurious hotel in the heart of the city, boasting breathtaking views and an open bar that ensured guests would socialize well into the evening. John, meet Brandon Scott, our new creative director, Sarah announced as a young man drew near. Devin, my beloved spouse, John. It's a pleasure to meet you, Devin remarked, extending a hand for a shake. What is it that you do, John? Before I had the chance to respond, Sarah interjected. John serves as a project manager at Baxter Systems. Her tone held a quiet dismissal that I had started to observe with increasing regularity. Merely a project manager, I stated with intentional weight. Observing the shift in Sarah's demeanor, she seemed oblivious to, or perhaps deliberately ignored, my pointed remark. John is remarkably dependable, she went on, as though she were characterizing a trusty family sedan. He ensures that everything operates seamlessly while the rest of us embrace the uncertainties. Devin chuckled, unmistakably attuned to Sarah's cue. It's essential for someone to ensure the lights remain on while the visionaries pursue their grand ideas. Wouldn't you agree? I kept my smile intact. Indeed, years of professional diplomacy are now serving me well. Occasionally, we dependable individuals manage to rescue multimillion-dollar accounts from disaster, as I accomplished last month with Henderson. Sarah's phone vibrated with a sudden urgency. Excuse me, she said, stepping away without a glance at my words. Project management, Devin remarked, his eyes scanning for a topic to engage with. How intriguing that must be, I proposed, noting its challenges and its vital role in the success of the company. He possessed the elegance of someone caught in a moment of embarrassment. Without a doubt, all of the aforementioned. I caught sight of Anthony White, our neighbor, from across the room. Mark found himself at the gathering, a result of his company's occasional collaborations with Sarah's firm, shedding light on his attendance this evening. Pardon me, Devin. It was a pleasure to meet you, I remarked, as I approached Mark. Mark welcomed me with heartfelt sincerity. John, what a pleasant surprise to encounter a familiar face in this place. Mark, I am truly grateful. I crave genuine human connection before I solidify into a dependable project manager statue. Mark arched an eyebrow, a silent question lingering in the air. It seems there's a tale waiting to be told. Merely the standard display of corporate bravado. How is Nora faring? At home, battling a cold. How is Sarah finding her new role? I cast my gaze over to Sarah, who was commanding the attention of several executives, her laughter echoing through the room. Flourishing, as ever. Mark regarded me with a careful gaze. How do you fare today? There was an undercurrent in his tone that hinted he was not merely engaging in idle chatter. After a moment of doubt, I chose to embrace the truth that I find myself in a more favorable state than this. Mark gestured towards the terrace doors with a nod. Is there anything quite like the embrace of fresh air? The evening air outside offered a refreshing escape from the bustling reception within. After a brief pause, Mark remarked, I heard Sarah's introduction. That was not correct. The city lights beckoned to me from afar, twinkling like distant stars in the night sky. Am I being overly sensitive? It's merely the facade she adopts for her professional endeavors. John, it feels like I've known you both for, 8 years now? That was not the version of herself she presented in the workplace. That felt rather dismissive. Listening to another person articulate it released a tension within me. It has been occurring with increasing regularity. Initially, I believed it was merely the pressure stemming from her recent promotion. Has there been any improvement as she has become more settled? The contrary. After a moment of doubt, I pressed on. Have you heard that our personal disputes have become the midday spectacle at her workplace? Mark recoiled slightly. That is indeed crossing a boundary. I am starting to understand that numerous boundaries are being transgressed. This conversation was never part of my plans. Yet, once it began, the words flowed incessantly. Last month marked our anniversary, yet she completely overlooked it, arriving almost an hour late and taking several calls throughout dinner. What you're feeling isn't stress, John. That is a lack of respect. The term lingered in the air, a palpable sense of disrespect. I had been sidestepping the act of naming it, crafting excuses, and granting leniencies. Mark continued, recalling how Nora had noticed it at the neighborhood barbecue last summer. Sarah's interruption was abrupt, her gaze shifting to her phone as you spoke. Afterward, she inquired whether all was well between the two of you. A peculiar blend of validation and embarrassment washed over me. Others had observed what I had been striving to overlook. What are you going to do? Mark inquired. I suppose you should engage her in conversation. Make an effort to confront it head-on. Mark gave a slight nod. Simply remain ready. From what I've observed, individuals who show a lack of respect towards others rarely gain self-awareness when faced with confrontation. Upon re-entering, my gaze fell upon Sarah, who stood across the room. She was presenting another woman's husband, her hand resting on his arm, completely focused on him. Her introductions of me stood in sharp relief. That evening, I inscribed yet another entry into my ever-expanding journal, titled Company Event. Sarah referred to me merely as a project manager on 3 occasions, overlooked the Henderson account save, and disclosed private disagreements within the office. Mark has acknowledged that this is a pattern observed by others, and it requires direct attention. I shut the journal, enveloped in a peculiar blend of insight and melancholy. The pattern was increasingly impossible to ignore.